Well, hello and good morning, all of my conscious cruisers out there, and good morning to my two wonderful co-hosts. Welcome in to episode number 36. We are all matching today. I don't know how that happened. We're all coordinated and matching. And we are going to talk about probably one of my favorite topics in all 36 cruises, bucket list cruises. So give you guys something to think about. I am with Elisa from Elisa's Adventures in Cruising, Chet from Sea Leg Journeys, and myself, Scott from Controversial Cruising, who have all been on bucket list cruises, or at least thought about going on a bucket list cruise. So right after this.
Welcome into the Conscious Cruiser Podcast, the know before you go approach to cruising and travel. The smartest cruiser is the Conscious Cruiser. And your conscious casters, Elisa, Chet, and Scott.
You forgot your coordinated conscious cruisers. Look at us.
Yes, we are very coordinated today. That's amazing.
We were actually in step with each other too, I think, on that one.
Yeah.
We did.
We got each other's brainwave message.
All right. We are going to talk about, again, probably my favorite topic in 36 episodes, excuse me. Bucket list cruises. So first question, if you could wake up, my conscious casters, if you could wake up anywhere in these three, Alaska, Hawaii, or anywhere in the Mediterranean, where would you choose to wake up? And price is not an option here. They're all the same price. So where would you want to wake up on your next cruise or your next bucket list cruise, Elisa?
Oh, this is really tough. This is a really hard question. Last year when I went, was it last year? I don't even know the day that it's all blurring together. When I went to Alaska, I thought that was my bucket list cruise, and it was going to be a one and done. But of course, I'm already dreaming about the next time I get to do that. I've been to Hawaii, but I haven't cruised to Hawaii yet. So that's still high on the list. But since I'm going to be heading to the Mediterranean, I guess I'm going to pick that. I wish that was a little sooner. It's coming up quick, though. It's coming up quick.
What?
The Mediterranean. Have you ever been to the Mediterranean outside of a cruise or?
No, I have not been. So it's very, very exciting.
You will have to share with us one day when you're on your cruise, when you first wake up, well, obviously when you adjust, and take a picture of outside what you see when you wake up, and you just have to tag the Conscious Cruise and say, this is the Mediterranean when I first woke up, because I'm curious. I've never been to the Mediterranean.
I could do that. It's going to be amazing. I'm just going to try and soak it all up. Soak it up. All
right, Mr. Chet, if you could wake up in Alaska, Hawaii, or the Mediterranean on a cruise ship, which would you choose on your bucket list cruise?
Well, this is the hardest question we've ever dealt with here on the Conscious Cruiser in 36 episodes. So I had to go Robin from Sea Leg Journeys to get some help with this. I said, Robin from Sea Leg Journeys, you can wake up in Alaska, Hawaii, or the Mediterranean. Which one would it be? And she said, yes.
Yes.
That's what she said.
I love Robin.
Do you understand the question? She said, yes.
Yes.
Those are all bucket list destinations. We have made it to Alaska twice. Have not made it to Hawaii. We've had it booked 3 times, but that big old sea thing we 5 years ago kind of wankered that up. The Mediterranean, of course, who doesn't want to go there? But there's other places on our bucket list too. So many, guys, that the only answer we can possibly have to the most impossibly difficult question on the Conscious Cruiser is yes. Yes. We want to look up at all of them.
I mean, there's some on my bucket list that didn't even make that list.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too.
I'm with Robin. Yes.
Japan.
I could have went on with
Australia.
that question. Australia's another one. That's another good one too.
Yeah.
I'm sure you guys are letting us know too in the chat which your bucket list cruises you would like to wake up on. But those are probably the three most popular bucket list cruises in this year and last year that are especially being researched and being booked by new cruisers and also cruisers that are a little bit more seasoned, a little bit more experienced, now saying, hey, what else is out there other than the Caribbean? Oh, well, there's Alaska. Oh, well, there's Hawaii. Oh, well, there's the Mediterranean, right? And so on and so forth. So for me, I think there was a battle between two different answers, and I'm pretty sure you might know which two answers those are, Alaska and Hawaii. I would have said Alaska had I not ever went to Hawaii, but thank you to No Pants Profits, my friend Richard, for taking me on both, actually, and Hawaii. But since being to Hawaii and cruising to Hawaii, I would love every day of my life to wake up in Hawaii and look at how scenic and how beautiful it is in Hawaii. So that's my answer. Alaska is definitely a close second because of how clean and crisp the air is. But Hawaii, I would wake up in Hawaii every day if I could on a cruise ship. So
good to know, as we have that on the list. That is good to know.
Yep.
Hawaii is beautiful, and it's definitely paradise. It's a peace. To me, it was very peaceful, and so was Alaska, but in such different ways. So definitely. great bucket lists, cruises for sure.
Yes. And here's another interesting thing too. So when I went to Alaska the first time, I had thoughts, hey, I could move to Alaska. Like I could really do it. I know the coldness and I know, but I love Alaska. I could live here. When I went to Hawaii, it was complete opposite. I said I would love to wake up every day on a cruise ship, but I would never, and this has nothing to do against Hawaii, but I would never live in Hawaii. Any part, anywhere, any island, I don't care. I would never live and reside in Hawaii. I might go there for a week, 2 weeks. I might cruise there, but I would never live there. So
he wants to visit. He doesn't want to live there. I mean, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
Correct. And I would still live in Alaska too. Like if it, like I've had looming thoughts about, moving to Skagway or Ketchikan and, becoming a bartender or doing something like that and being, in the life of it all, because Alaska has a very awesome vibe. The people there are amazing. The community is amazing. The feel is just amazing. And as you guys know, that's the type of guy that I am. So I just love that. And I love Alaska. So, but I'm waking up in Hawaii, baby. Hawaii. All right. The second question here, the know before you go. How would you prepare for a bucket list cruise versus a regular Caribbean cruise? Maybe it's not a Caribbean, but just a regular cruise for you versus a bucket list cruise like one of these destinations that we named. Mr. Chet, I know you have some notes on this, so please let us know.
I have investigated some of the bucket list cruises, and I found that there are some questions that you need to know before you go to ask. Because if you don't ask, you may not get the answers you need, and you may end up disappointed and not even be able to get on your cruise, okay? So pay attention out there. You need to find out, are there visa requirements? Are you going to have to get a visa? I got a passport. Good. You're going to need that too. But you're also going to need a visa to get to some of the places. And believe it or not, immunizations. You're going to need some immunizations to go to some places. But I don't believe in shots. Well, then you're not going to get to go. Just get the idea that you may have to get some to some locations. And medications. I have to take this for my medicine. Well, it's illegal where you're going. You will be arrested. Leave it at home. These are questions you need to find out before you go. Find out, do you need a visa as well as your passport? Do you need immunizations? Do you need medications? That's not an exhaustive list of everything you need to ask, but these are some that can get you in big trouble or not let you on your cruise if you don't know the answers to them. That's all I got to say about it.
Those are great. That's great.
Awesome. Every single one of those were
all very true. Very
these
true.
are all legitimately from me looking at cruises, bucket list cruises, okay? Specifically looking at bucket list cruises, different parts of the world. These are legitimate things that you need to know.
Yes.
Before you go.
Before you go.
Before you go.
No, before you go. All right. How about you, Elisa? How are you preparing for your upcoming bucket list cruise versus, Florida?
I would say this is definitely, and I probably thought this for Alaska too, first time going. It is an extra layer of things to think about for sure. And for me, the big worry was just how am I getting there? The cruise is to Greece, and obviously we have to fly over. We're flying to Athens to meet the ship. But I don't take international flights every day. I don't know about you guys.
Me neither.
So we generally know how much it's going to cost us, or the range of what it's going to cost us if we're going to the Caribbean. Or now that I've been to Alaska, even going across country to Alaska or to Seattle to catch the ship. But I don't know how long I stalked the airlines trying to figure out what was a good price, trying to figure out what was an appropriate fare, what was going to get me there the quickest, the most direct, without completely blowing the budget. So the budget in general is something that you need to really be prepared for, or at least know what you're gonna have to take on. But the flights themselves were a nice chunk of that, and just trying to organize it all. It's been interesting.
Yeah, and I bet there are no direct flights from Florida to Greece, so I bet you have
correct. I thought someone had suggested Miami. I think there is one, but there would have been a connection, like I want to say in London, maybe. So it wasn't direct to Athens. I thought maybe out of Tampa, because for those of you not living in Florida, Tampa has a very large Greek community. So I thought maybe they would have some direct flights to Greece, but no. So I opted to do the connection here stateside. Figured that would be easier and more comfortable to me. And then, so that'll be out of New York, and then head straight from New York to Athens.
And same thing with like the cruise industry. Unfortunately, it's about the money. So the more times they touch that plane down, they can load, unload passengers, and sell more tickets. So
I do have one more thing I want to throw in there, Scott, if you don't mind.
Yeah, absolutely.
When you're doing your bucket list cruise, if you're in a wheelchair like I am, I have to have a wheelchair. ADA compliance overseas is not the same as the United States. It's not the same. Don't go over expecting it's going to be like America. You're going to be able to get your wheelchair and everything, because you ain't. And some of the places you go to, you think, well, they'll have ramps and elevators. No, they won't. It's not the United States. I think that's a big point that you got to put in your head when you're going on these bucket list cruises that are overseas, is that you're not in America anymore. And the things that you expect here may not necessarily be reality there.
Right.
So I want to make sure I put that in, because when I was checking places out, ADA compliance does not exist in a lot of the world.
Correct.
That's an excellent point. And I've been watching other folks, in fact, a vlogger that we probably all watch, Adventures, Tanya and Pretty Timmy are in Greece right now. And one of the things that they were talking about on their live was how going to Santorini, which everybody is, it's beautiful and they want to see the blue domes, but the access to get up to the town is very difficult. You have to take the cable car, or you have to do the stairs. Now you could opt to ride the donkey up the stairs, but if you're trying to walk them, apparently the stairs are very steep and very slippery. So it's going to be a challenge for most of us, let alone if you are wheelchair bound or, have another situation. So that's an excellent point, Chad, that we dream of the ideal situation, but it may not be ideal for you.
Right.
Correct.
Right.
110%. And it may not be something that you're accustomed to, like
Yeah.
just for instance, something that I'm thinking of, right? There are certain places in the world where you can't wear camo, right? And it may not be the bucket list cruise, but this is just examples that I'm using, right? So
Right.
what we're accustomed to here in America, right, may not be what Greece is accustomed to, or what Hawaii is accustomed to, or Alaska is accustomed to, right? So you want to be mindful of these things, and you also want to be respectful, because you don't want to end up on that show Locked Up Abroad. I don't even know if it's still on.
No.
You don't want to
Yeah.
end up on that
Yeah.
show Locked Up Abroad because you decided to wear your camo out, or you decided to, whatever, break the law that you did not know that you were breaking. Because in America, it's not a law, but guess what? It may be, or it may not be customary, or it may be rude, or it may be, whatever it may be. So just research and know the region that you're going to for your bucket list cruise, and be respectful to the region that you're going to. So
yeah, cultures and customs.
Thank you.
We think, just be respectful and abide by it. But over there may be a law. It may be, well, I don't feel like being respectful today. I'm going to wear my whatever T-shirt and hat. And you may find out that, guess what? You don't have any First Amendment here either. It's not the United States, like I just said. And you can find yourself in big trouble. Big trouble.
Yeah.
So find out what customs and cultures, like Scott said, it's a great point. And which ones they take very seriously and have laws, and they don't care who you are.
Nope.
They'll drag you off the street and lock you up.
Yep. And they would actually probably rather make an example out of an American or something like that, right? And there's laws out there as stupid as spitting your gum out in public, right? I forget exactly where it is, but I saw this on like maybe a Snapple cap or something, but like it was like a true fact. Spitting your gum out in this place could get you arrested because they have very strict laws on recycling and trash and all that other stuff. So yeah, it has been a law that you don't spit your gum out. Can you spit the gum out here in the United States? Sure. I mean, is it frowned upon? Yes. Yeah. Find a trash can, but you're not going to get arrested for it, So I forget.
Right. Well, Scott, you're too young to remember this, but Give a Hoot and Don't Pollute was very much part of my childhood, and
Me too.
we are more conscious of it, but like we don't have the fear that we're going to be arrested over it. But like along those lines, like jaywalking, we could get a ticket here in most places. What happens if you go across the traffic in some of these other locations? Is it applauded because that's the only way you're going to cross, or is it like you've caused a major incident? So you should have a general idea of what it's going to be like.
And thank goodness for YouTube, we can find out some of these things.
We can. And honestly, you should check out our sponsor today, because they have a lot of bucket list destinations, a lot of bucket list cruises in their itinerary, in their artillery and itinerary. So go on and check it out. Sea Leg Journeys, Chet and Robin. Chet from Sea Leg Journeys and Robin from Sea Leg Journeys.
Hi, I'm Robin. This is Chet, and we're Sea Leg Journeys.
That's right. So come on with us, and we're going to show you the ships, the ports, and the excursions that we do while we're cruising.
You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Spotify, and of course, YouTube.
That's right. So come on and join us on all the fun things we're going to do. We also have live shows Wednesday and Friday morning at 8:30 Eastern Time, and Sunday night at 6 p.m. So come on and join us there too.
And don't forget, we have a wide variety of videos on YouTube, from everything from the food, to the rooms, to the excursions, to the ships.
That's right. So come on and join us for the fun here at Sea Leg Journeys. You know what I think of when I see that commercial, though? I think, man, that dude married way out of his league. Look at that. How did he pull that off?
How did you pull that off?
He doesn't know. I've asked him many times. He doesn't know.
Well, good job. Good job.
Yeah, go and check out our sponsor. Thank you very much, Sea Leg Journeys. That was funny. Okay, on to our third question. In your guys' opinion, and everybody in the chat, would you suggest taking a bucket list cruise for your first cruise or not? Elisa, back to you.
Again, it's a great topic, but these questions are tough. These questions are tough because I mean, I really do think that comes down to personal choice, right? Like I could not imagine, like if Alaska had been my very first cruise, that would have shaped so much about what I thought of cruising, in general, and what I was grow to expect.
Right.
So it's kind of like, is what experience is actually on your bucket list? Is it cruising to Alaska? Is it cruising to Alaska on Celebrity? Is it just seeing the snow-capped mountains? What exactly is the bucket list item, I guess, is what you have to concentrate on. So if your bucket list item is your first cruise to this destination, then sure, why not? But it is going to shape how you see cruising in general, for good or for bad.
Correct. I like that.
Like,
focus on what you're going to that bucket list for, and make
Yeah.
sure that you do it, right? Yeah.
Right. And
Yeah, I
like,
think that's a
even
valid point.
yeah, I think we're used to the cruise lines that are mostly here, obviously in the States. So, Carnival and Royal and Princess and the Celebrity now too. But like going on MSC, I think going on MSC here in America versus boarding in Europe is going to be a very different experience, since they are Italy or Italian based company. They made lots of changes and are making accommodations for the North American market because we're different. We're different.
Oh yeah,
definitely.
So yeah, I do think those would be two different experiences. So like, not bad, but just kind of know what you wanted to accomplish there.
I like it.
I do too. Yeah, it's good.
How about you,
Yeah,
Chad?
I think it's tough when you start off like that. I mean, like, I'm going to use an example of like how I grew up. I grew up, on a used bicycle. We lived in a small trailer, bought clothes from yard sales and stuff like that. So, man, when we got a new pair of pants, even if it was a cheap old pair of pants, we thought, woohoo, we got a new pack of t-shirts, woohoo. And then now I can buy a t-shirt in St. Martin with a dog on it,
Right.
Kind of going up. And I think cruising, I think that's what Elisa's trying to allude to too. If you start off living in a mansion, it's hard for you to.
It's hard to go back down.
You're not going to get excited about that trailer.
Yeah.
But if you start off in the trailer, the 3-day, 4-day cruise or whatever on an older Carnival ship, and then you work your way up to riding on that MSC World America for a 10-day cruise.
Mm-hmm.
You've escalated up gradually, and your expectations have gone with it. But man, if you start off on that 10-day, 13-day MSC World America, now you're looking at the 3 or 4 day Carnival Sensation cruise and going, I don't think so. So I think it's a little better to start off conservative, for lack of a better word here, and build your way up with your expectations. That if you start off too high, man, if you can afford to keep them high, I guess that's okay. But
yeah.
But like for us, we did the yacht club. We did the yacht club on MSC, and now we can't go on MSC. I can't book a regular cabin. If we ever go again, we're going to have to go to the yacht club, and we can't afford to now. So see, I've messed up there.
And Chad has told us all about us. He's got us all wanting to go on the yacht club, and it's a little pricey.
Now we all can't afford it.
Yeah, and when I went, it was affordable.
Yeah.
Then they suckered people like me in, and now I can't go unless I go on the yacht club. But I can't. On a ship, I can go in an interior cabin. I don't care. Princess, I can go in an interior cabin. Any other cruise line, I can just pick a regular interior cabin, but I can't on MSC. I started off in the castle, and I ain't going out there with the peasants.
I don't. MSC is like, I don't think that's how we expected that to work out, but okay.
That is
You were
how it
supposed to
works
keep, yeah, you were supposed to keep going on the yacht club, no matter the cost.
Next
Yeah.
up to the presidential suite, then the captain's suite,
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
the double squeaky suite. You know, like there's levels to this.
Yeah, I recommend doing like Elisa said. There, start off with something a little less and build your expectations up.
Yeah.
I think we're all going to agree with this. You know, I'll give you another comparison. It's like going on a first date, right? And bringing a dozen roses, right? Now, the next date, on the second date, you got to bring 2 dozen roses, or you got to bring 1.5 dozens, right? Because if you go back down to giving 1 rose, they're like, well, on the first date, you gave me 12 and you're giving me 1. What did I do?
Yeah.
Or where did
Yeah,
the other
that's
11 go? Like, did you have 11 dates before me? And now I'm the 12th? Like, what happened here? Like, so
Where
I
my
think,
roses at? Yeah.
where my roses
Yeah,
at? Where's
exactly. The expectation is, where are my dozen roses?
right,
right.
exactly. And I think when you go on these bigger ships or the bucket list or whatever it may be, right? Because a bucket list cruise could just be one of these behemoth ships, right? That just you're just
Absolutely,
going on
yes.
for the ship. It's a bucket list for the ship, right? And I think if you again set your expectations too high, you don't really have anything to strive forward for, right? And look forward to.
Right.
It's like, okay, well, now I have to wait till 2030 till the Constellation class comes out in MSC, because that's going to be the newest and biggest. And if I go on Icon, even though it's big, it's like, yeah, okay, cool. It was Icon. Whereas like, dude, Icon, what are you talking about? That's the biggest ship ever. It's not really the biggest ship ever, but you know what I mean. So yes, I'm going to echo on what my 2 co-hosts said. And for sure, I wouldn't start with a bucket list cruise if it was me personally.
Me neither. Man.
Same.
All right. Now for our favorite segment, question of the cast, for my cast members and all of you. What is your ultimate bucket list cruise, whether you've been on it already or you are going to book it or still thinking about it and dreaming about it, and why, Mr. Chet?
Well, of course, we've got 2 answers here, mine and Robin from Sea Lake Journeys.
Love
and we
it.
both agree on them. So really, they're both of our answers. But to start off with, we'd like to do one of those transatlantic or trans-Pacific, either way, possibly a repositioning cruise, because they're cheaper, more affordable that way, more days, and you get to see a lot of faraway places in a more affordable way. So that's kind of one step into ultimate leading to the ultimate bucket list for us is the going around the world cruise in 120 days.
Really?
Oh yeah,
Nice. That would be nice. Yeah,
that would be awesome, but that may be out of our reach. I don't know. Of course, when I lived in a trailer, I never thought I'd live in a house that had 2 bathrooms either. So
yeah, it's not impossible.
It happened in the future. Yeah.
That surprises me. I didn't think you and Robin would go on a world cruise. I would have thought that you would have said that was too long. So for me, it's too long. So, but wow. Well, okay.
I had a cruise to Jupiter and back. We'd be on it.
You're like, we're there. You know what her answer was? Yes.
Yeah, yes, exactly. Yeah.
To Jupiter, what ship is that on, Chet?
Yes, Minnow.
Oh, that's hysterical.
All right, Lisa, what is your ultimate bucket list cruise and why?
Well, I don't even know if I had thought about this until just now. My ultimate bucket list trip is to Australia, and every time I think about that trip, I want to see it's a long way to go, right? So I want to see it all. I want to, go to multiple locations when I'm there. And that's really one of the main reasons that I love cruising so much is that you go on cruises and get to go to lots of different spots. So why I never thought about that as a cruise, I don't know. But now my cruise to Australia is top on the list.
Definitely. Definitely. And that again is another international flight. So you would probably have to fly to Sydney. Well, not probably. You would fly to Sydney or the surrounding areas, right?
Yeah.
You would go on the cruise that would probably go to the intercoastals. Not probably, it would go to the intercoastals. Right. And then you would come back to Sydney, and you can even spend like a week or 2 weeks around Sydney or fly somewhere else and, make a whole vacation out of it and really get, like you said, all of Australia rather than just the cruise, which would be part of the bucket list, but the whole bucket list experience that all goes in the bucket would be, the whole thing from day one to, finally getting back home from eating all the wonderful food and experience.
All the ships on the Barbie. Crocodile Dundee changed my life, apparently. That's all my references.
That's not a knife. I love it. All right. I might surprise you guys with mine. I have been to Alaska. I have been to Hawaii. Those were bucket list cruises, but I have been on both of those. So I'm not going to say those, but I'm going to switch up the weather a little bit, and I'm going to go somewhere a little bit colder. Since the first time I went to Alaska, that took my heart. Still has a little piece of my heart. I'm going to go with Norway and the Iceland cruise. So that has been something that I've been very curious about. It looks beautiful.
You wrote down? Is that what you wrote down?
That's on my bucket list before we do the transpositioning thing. That's another one I'm looking at right now.
100%. I mean, just from there's not really a lot of content out there about the Norway and there are some, but just from what I have seen, it just looks beautiful. I think to wake up in a place like that and be able to breathe in that air and just take in that culture, I think that would be something to experience as a cruiser. Obviously, bring it to the channel. But for me right now, where I stand, that would be my number one bucket list. If you said, here's a bunch of cash, book a cruise that you would never think you could ever book, Norway and Iceland, that is where I'm going to. That's where I'm cruising to.
Nice. 2027. I was looking at that one, Scott.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It's in June of 2027, and it was $1,800 per person on Princess for 14 days.
Well, that's great for the cruise. It's those flights. How are we getting there?
The flight's probably another $1,800.
Yeah.
February, March, April. May. You want to know what? I might have enough PTO for that, chat. We might have to talk for February, March, April. Yeah, I might have enough to be. Yeah. We'll talk. Wait. Next year, you said?
27.
Okay. Yeah. Never mind. I think we could.
Got to get the calendars out.
That's one of those I was telling you. You got to get a visa because you have to land in Southampton, and they got a special all-day visa to land there.
That's true. 110%.
But that was on the episode we were talking about. That was last week.
Well, last week. Yeah,
last week's episode. Yeah. If y'all didn't catch last week's episode, go check it out.
Check it out. And you guys can also check us out on Spotify. The links should all be in our descriptions. I should have sent them to all of our co-hosts, but the links will be in our description. Help us build our following over there, because once we get to 100, we can do something really cool. We have about 36, 37 right now. So thank you, everybody, for joining us for this episode of The Conscious Cruiser, episode number 36. We will be back next week with episode number 37 on Sea Leg Journeys channel. So check it on out, and thank you guys for loving The Conscious Cruiser as much as we do ourselves. So we'll see you guys next week. Bye, y'all.
Bye. See you at the moon check.
Oh, I'm gonna beat you, chat. Bye.